Before we start today's episode of Pittsburgh Steelers Talk by Chat Sports, I have a question for you guys. Which do you like more? Is it free agency or the draft for the NFL? Of course, the NFL draft is barely a week away, and free agency's been ongoing for quite a while here. And, of course, we talk about both here at Steelers Talk, and we'll talk about both on today's show as well. But I want to hear from you. Which do you prefer? D for the draft, F for free agency. You're watching Pittsburgh Steelers Talk by Chat Sports. I am Tom Downey, here with everything going on around the Steelers with just over a week until this year's NFL Draft. And shocking, I know, there is more quarterback talk as it relates to Baker Mayfield heading to Pittsburgh, potentially. The Steelers, for a bit of a while now, have been rumored, linked as a destination, which, funnily enough, kind of started as one of those like fake Twitter accounts trying to be funny. And then it got real, and it happens sometimes, right? The Browns are desperately trying to trade Baker Mayfield. I don't see any scenario in which the Steelers trade for Baker. I doubt the Browns want to ship Baker to Pittsburgh either. But in the event he gets cut, well, there's been plenty of speculation and theories and rumors that maybe Baker could end up in Pittsburgh to compete with Mason Rudolph and Mitch Trubisky to be the starter this year for the Steelers. Here's what Jeff Darlington of ESPN said recently about Baker in Pittsburgh. If for some reason the Browns, and I don't expect this to happen, were to cut Baker Mayfield, I think he signs with the Pittsburgh Steelers the very next day. I don't know how much interest Pittsburgh would really have, but I would see Baker wanting to be a Steeler. He's a big chip-on-the-shoulder guy. I don't think there's much he would like more than being able to go up against his old team twice a year, and I think he would be confident that he is a better QB than Trubisky, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But first, the pinned question of the day. Would you sign Baker Mayfield if he is cut? And we'll assume he's very affordable as well. I want to hear from you guys. Y for yes, N for no. Like I said, it's the pinned comment on today's show. So if the ad break comes here on YouTube, I want you guys to take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. Let's do blind resume now. Quarterback A versus quarterback B. We'll keep the stats on screen so you guys have a long time to look at it here. QB1, 17 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. He was pretty good in 2020. Completion percentage is not very good overall, but 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, consistently goes over 3,000 yards, can get you 20-plus touchdowns almost every single year, but a bit more turnover prone with the interceptions. Quarterback B, the accuracy, completion percentage-wise, is better. Outside of 2018, though, the numbers don't look that great. The yards aren't very good. It's a little bit middling from that standpoint. It's not quite what you're looking for there. So let me know, who would you rather have, A or B? You've seen the stats up there on screen. Hopefully it's been up there enough for you guys. I think A's 2020 is the best year on that group, but if you really want consistency, 2018 is not that bad for quarterback B either. So which one would you rather have? Type in A or B right now in the comments. Of course, we'll reveal it for you too, right? Quarterback A is Baker Mayfield, and quarterback B is Mitch Trubisky. I don't think the numbers are that startlingly different. Different strengths and weaknesses we know about for each player. Trubisky had his rehab year in Buffalo, not playing at all. And then Baker had his bad year this season amid injuries. Two players who are both very high draft picks that have not lived up to the hype at this point. Now, if the Steelers do make another quarterback move, we'll break it down for you guys. Let's get to 12,000 subscribers here. Before the draft, we got a lot of you guys subbed up to our Miles Boykin video. Thank you. Let's keep it going. We're trying to do it for Terry Bradshaw. So if you haven't already, subscribe. YouTube.com/SteelersTV. You're watching on YouTube right now, so it's pretty simple. Hit the subscribe button. In exchange, you get free videos all year, season and off-season, by the way, on Pittsburgh. Let's talk free agency. Now, we're hitting free agency and draft as promised on today's show. How about the Honey Badger? The Steelers continue to be linked to Tyrann Mathieu. Other teams that have been linked, the Saints and Eagles, he took official visits there. The Colts have been linked, which is a little bit more on the speculative side, but it is out there. And, of course, Mathieu himself said that he has spoken with head coach Mike Tomlin as well. Mathieu's numbers have begun to decline a little bit in recent years, but 76 tackles, 3 INTs, 6 pass breakups. He's a perfect fit as that box overhang, strong safety type of mold. I think he'd be a fantastic pairing with Minkah Fitzpatrick. I will make note, by the way, this latest version of the Mathieu Steelers idea comes from Bleacher Report when they said that was the best fit for Mathieu was to go for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think it is a fantastic fit. And I think he'd be a great addition for Pittsburgh. And I don't think he'd break the bank necessarily. I think you would absolutely be able to have Minkah Fitzpatrick on a new long-term deal. And the Honey Badger, even if it's just a year or two, he won't be that expensive relative to what Minkah's going to command. We call him M&M even. So would Minkah and Mathieu be the best safety duo in the entire NFL? I think there's a very real argument for it, and I'd probably lean towards yes, frankly. But I want to hear from you guys. We're a show for the people, after all. 1 for yes, 0 for no. While you're putting your answers in the comments section for me, do me a favor and go subscribe to the Chat Sports YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/ChatSportsTV. I'll make sure the link to that channel is put in both the comments and in the description. We will be live for the entirety of the 2022 NFL Draft. We'll break down the picks on this channel as well after they're made. But if you want the live coverage anchored by your boy, go subscribe. youtube.com/ChatSportsTV. And, of course, we have to discuss the number one story in the entire NFL. Deebo Samuel has requested a trade out of San Francisco as he looks for a new deal and apparently wasn't pleased with how he was utilized in San Francisco last year. It's a very weird situation because Deebo's awesome at football. The Niners did a great job getting him the football this year. Not often you want a receiver not to get the ball as much, but whatever. He doesn't want to be a back, I guess. Also, you would think the Niners could make this all go away if they just said, sure, Deebo, we're not going to make you a running back. You can just be a receiver. I think I've seen a lot of people like, oh, well, what makes him valuable is the running, which helps, make no mistake about it. Deebo was balling as a receiver. We do know that, right? Like, Deebo Samuel, before he moved to almost part-time running back last year, was putting up awesome production. He was a very good receiver. He was a great receiver. Then the Niners unlocked another element to his game by giving him handoffs. And Deebo was like so proud of like the wide back stuff, and now he doesn't like it. It's very weird and very confusing. But he wants out. And if you're Pittsburgh, aren't you intrigued by Deebo Samuel? Wouldn't you have interest in adding him to your wide receiver core? And yes, you'd have to figure out what you're going to do with Deontay Johnson, who also wants a probably pretty big contract. But we also know this about the salary cap. Easily manipulated, especially when you're not paying a QB big money right now. I think this is about the rough value for Deebo Samuel in a trade. A first and a second, maybe you get lucky, it's a future second, maybe you throw in Deontay Johnson, who I think would help your trade value. I don't know if a first and Deontay is the way you want to go. You might prefer the pick instead, but you can make you can do a lot of things to make that work in the end. By the way, that trade value intentionally is very similar to that of Tyreek Hill and Devontae Adams because I think that's about the going rate for these franchise guys. Deebo's not as productive as those two, but he's also much younger, and you probably feel better about the long-term life of that big contract you give him. So play GM for me. Would you make this trade? Final question, final part of today's show. So I want you to sound off in the comments section. Light it up here. Would you make this trade? T for trade, you do it, or P for pass, you're not interested in adding Deebo Samuel at all?